So students, today we will continue this chapter, his first flight, your third chapter, explanation with the text. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. As in the first video, you have learned that he got so excited that he fell as soon as he tried. For a moment, he was in shock and stood still out of terror. All this lasted only for a moment, and soon his feathers opened as he flied. He could feel the wind against his breast feathers. He was not afraid anymore. He was just a bit nervous, but then his mother accompanied him. The whole family screamed out of excitement, thus celebrating his victory over fear. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it. And he turned his beak sideways and caught amusedly. Shrieking means, what is the meaning of shrieking here? Making a high-pitched, piercing cry or sound. Shrilly means loudly and forcefully. Ridges, a long, narrow hilltop mountain range or watershed. And God means utter a call. Once he overcame his fear, he forgot that he was once afraid of it. He did all those things he once feared. He flied straight over the sea and could see the greenery and the mountains beneath him. He screamed out of joy as he enjoyed the victory. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him. Beckoning means, what is the meaning of beckoning here? Gesture. And calling shrilly, he dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger and he could not rise. Exhausted by the strange exercise, his feet sank into the green sea and then his belly touched it and he sank no farther. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dog fish. He had made his first flight. As when he landed, his family landed along with him. As a gesture that were proud, they were screaming, shouting in excitement in their high-pitched voices. He then went into the sea, where at first he got scared and thus panicked. He tried escaping but got tired and weak because of hunger. Thus, when he calmed down, he started floating in the sea he was once afraid of, and his family was celebrating in excitement and offered him food as praise. And finally, he had overcome his fear and had made his first flight. Finally, he had overcome his fear and had made his first flight. That is the title of this part 1, and that was the explanation and end of this chapter, part 1, first flight. So, as we know that the title is apt, as the story narrates how the little seagull finally took his first flight. He had a great fear of flying, as the heights and the oceans below scared him to death. He was coaxed and counseled by his mother, but his fear kept him confined to the ledge. As finally his hunger pushed him to take the plunge and fly, thus the title is quite suitable. And the theme of this chapter, his first flight highlights the importance of independence, self-belief, and confidence, and the need for motivation to attain goals. Necessity is the mother of invention, but it sometimes needs an initial push to channel efforts towards creation. The story is also allegorical statement that everyone needs to be independent, even while staying involved in family life. The parents of the seagull had tried to coax and threaten him to in different ways to be independent, but to no avail. The mother knew well that the trick was to arouse his need, and she eventually pushed him to fly using his hunger. And that was the explanation of this chapter. Students, you have to revise this chapter thoroughly. So, okay, students, you have to revise this chapter. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay indoors, and eat healthy. Thank you.